Nagbabalik ang schoolmates. So schoolmates, lagi nating paalala na walang tama o maling sagot sa bawat debateng ating ginagawa. Ito ay isang platform lamang upang mapakinggan ang iba't ibang perspective ng ating mga kabataan tungkol sa mga issue ng ating bayan. Kaya naman bago tayo magsimula, atin munang panoorin ang ground rules ng ating debate. Narito po.
May dalawang teams na maglalaban, ang Team Pro at Team Con, na may tig-tatlong miyembro. Ang team leaders ang unang sasalang sa ating debate. Para sa bawat tanong, may 3 rounds or lives ang bawat isa na may 30 seconds per speaker per round. Kapag sobrang intense at walang gustong magpatalo, we activate the bonus round. 1 minute and 30 seconds yan na free flow discussion. Meaning, bahala na magsagutan ang magkabilang panig. Pero kung halimbawa, hindi na makarebat ang naunang debater, pwede siyang mag-buzz para palitan ng ibang team member. Ito ang twist. Bilang mga host, may kapangyarihan kaming mag-buzz sa gitna ng laban. Kung medyo off, boring, o hindi kami satisfied sa sagot ng sinumang debater, we can buzz you out at papalitan ng ibang team member. Kaya make sure na hindi lang matalino ang sagot nyo. Dapat klaro, direkta, at convincing. Bring your best arguments.
Okay, schoolmates, excited na ba kayo sa isang mainit na debate ngayong araw dito sa BB Studios? Kaya wag na nating patagalin pa. Umpisahan na natin ang panimulang argumento mula sa ating mga team leaders. Sa ating unang katanungan, sa pinakahuling balita tungkol sa sangguniang kabataan, prinopose ni former NYC Chairperson Cesar Chavez na gawin na lamang Youth Environmental Corp ang sangguniang kabataan. Sa tingin nyo ba, so sa ating mga speakers ngayon, isa itong epektibong solusyon para mas maging aktibo yung partisipasyon ng ating mga kabataan? Simulan natin, Nico.
I don't think simply changing sangguniang kabataan into something else would be meaningful enough to improve the participation of youth in politics or in the society as a whole. I think a better approach is to improve our education system, because it is with proper education that the people or the youth would have a better grasp, a better understanding of what is happening in the society today. And if only we have that understanding, can we participate more freely?
So kung makikita natin sa Filipino Development Plan natin na sinusunod ng ating mga sangguniang kabataan, may 10 centers of participation doon at kasama doon ang environment. Napakawalang saysay naman kung tatanggalin natin ang sangguniang kabataan, kung environment na tayo magko-focus. Tandaan natin, hindi lang dapat environment ang finofocusan ng kabataan, marami pang aspetong edukasyon, kalusugan, and such. No? Kung magko-focus lang tayo doon sa environment, dapat manatili na lang sa barangay ang pag-implementa nito. Dapat kasi ang sangguniang kabataan o may epekto sa nararanasan ng mga kabataan sa kanilang lungsod.
What I am saying is sangguniang kabataan and this replacement is both not enough. It won't ever be enough. An organization or being a part of a government like this would never be enough to encourage the kabataan, mga kabataan sa pag-join ng initiatives, because makaka-join lang sila kung alam nila yung nangyayari at malalaman lang nila ang nangyayari kung properly educated sila.
Okay.
Ayan, tandaan natin na hindi lamang environment ang concern ng kabataan, no? Kung gusto nating ma-engage ang bawat kabataan, dapat matouch din natin yung ibang features, no? So, dapat nakikita rin natin yung problema ng kabataan na hindi lamang siya limitado sa kalikasan. Definitely nga, nagkakaroon na tayo ng problema kasi onting kabataan na lang gustong umako ng spaces sa civic participation, no? So, kailangan talaga bigyan natin ng focus na magkaroon ng posisyon ang kabataan sa gobyerno.
So naniniwala ba kayo na ang sangguniang kabataan ay isang maliit na porsyento lamang or portion, ika nga, ng ating gobyerno, at ang pagbuwag nga daw ba nito ang solusyon para mas mapagtuunan ng ating gobyerno ang ibang bagay na may kinalaman sa ating mga mamamayan? So like, do you think that the youth is just a small percentage? Why or why not is that true? Nico?
Okay, so first and foremost, I do not think that the youth is a small percentage. Even right now, 10% of the IRE of the barangays goes to the sangguniang kabataan. What I think rather is that sangguniang kabataan in its form right now, in its structure right now, is not enough to inculcate the Filipino youth to joining organizations or joining the the society or joining the discussions, the discourse. But it's a structure that encourages the youth rather to be more involved in the politics as we know it today. And that politics is not that good.
Okay. Ken.
Tandaan natin na ang sangguniang kabataan ay isang opisyal na posisyon sa gobyerno na kung saan pinapakinggan ng boses ng kabataan. No? At saka wag natin isang tabi ang kabataan. Tandaan natin, 2025, nagpanalo ang kabataan ng progresibong mga politiko at nagpanalo ng progresibong mga polisiya. Ngayon, kung tatanggalin natin sa posisyon ng kabataan sa pamamagitan ng sangguniang kabataan, paano na yung nasimulan ng kabataan no 2025? No? So at saka, hindi ito maliit. Sa konsepto ng public administration, meron tayong tinatawag na bottom-up approach. Kailangan natin siya intindihin na dapat ang boss ng grassroots ay naririnig sa paggawa ng polisiya.
I want to ask, if ganito nga, may bottom-up approach, may grassroots approach, bakit hindi ramdam ng kabataan ang sangguniang kabataan? Personally, hindi ko ramdam. Personally, hindi ramdam ng ibang mga kasama ko. And usually, kung sangguniang kabataan ang nagre-representa sa mga kabataan, bakit usually yung mga nananalo is anak ni kapitan, anak ni congressman, anak ni chairman, hindi yung nasa grassroots talaga. Masasabi natin sila ay elite. So, hindi natin masasabi na yung kagustuhan ko, kagustuhan niya, kagustuhan ng mga batang nasa lansangan ay may empower nila.
Tandaan natin yung existence ng elite hegemony sa ating mga grassroots governance katulad ng barangay ay isang problema na nagbunga sa isang maling sistematiko. Ibig sabihin nun, hindi lamang SK yung may problema si barangay, may problema si LGU, may problema yung iba pang mga opisina na nagkakaroon ng siyang gumagabay dapat sa SK. Tandaan natin na itong SK na to, ang konsepto ng SK ay maganda. Ngunit nababago lamang siya o pumapangit dahil walang magandang suporta na nananggaling sa LGU at hindi rin maayos yung sistema ng kanilang pinanggalingan.
Sige, pasok tayo ngayon sa free flow discussion. So I want to hear more about what you're saying na what is it about the people who are being elected as part of the SKs? What does that say about the effectivity of these leaders and how does that make total SK ineffective in your opinion?
First and foremost, those that are elected in SK, whether or not they are part of the elite or part of the political major political parties, they are not educated enough. They did not finish their educations. They are not that knowledgeable in terms of politics, in terms of legislation. Tandaan natin, ex-officio members ang chairman ng kabataan sa barangay. So, kasama sila sa bumoboto. So, kung hindi nila alam kung ano yung pagbobotohan nila, paano tayo makaka-sure na maganda yung isulat nila?
Ayun nga po. So gusto ko lang din isingit na tandaan po natin na ating sangguniang kabataan na nag-undergo ng very much training, no? So meron training na nilalatag ang NYC, may training na nilalatag ang LYDO. Hindi natin siya masabing incapacitated sila kasi ang daming training na. At tandaan natin, sa posisyon sa barangay, sa posisyon sa sangguniang panglungsod, kailangan ng boss ng kabataan, especially, sino bang nakaupo na ex-officio member sa councilor? Sino bang nakaupo ng ex-officio barangay kagawad na siyang kumite?
Masasabi mo bang effective yung mga training na to? Ganitong marami tayong issues against SK corruption. Andyan yung issue ni Yan Ibay about Highland. Andyan yung issue about around Albay na merong 300,000 corruption cases na sinasabing naging scapegoat itong kabataan. Hindi niya alam kung anong nangyari. Akala niya maganda yung pinasa ng kapitan niya pero nag-agree siya.
Ayun. Pero wag din natin isang tabi na ang dami ng SK na namayagpag pagdating sa paggogobyerno. Tandaan natin nandiyan ang Pasig, nandiyan ang Quezon City, at nandiyan ang Naga.
Pero kung marami yung harms at maraming kabataan na ito, worth it ba na magkaroon pa ng SK kung ang daming corruption cases, ang nagiging, kung yung napagbubunsad nito, may corruptions na nangyayari lang dahil sa kabataan, dagdag pa to sa problema ng bayan. Hindi naman sapat yung naitutulong na bibigay nila. Para lang dito sa mga nananakaw, mga misappropriated the funds. Tandaan natin, hindi din audited ang SK. Walang internal na nag-audit sa kanila bukod sa sarili nila. And separate sila sa barangay.
Okay, maraming salamat, Ken and Nico. Max and Lyra, ready? Let's focus on a bit on corruption. So, I think it's medyo related because ang humahawak ng pondo ang ating sangguniang kabataan. So, naniniwala ba kayo na ang pondo ng sangguniang kabataan ay hindi nasasamantala at nailalaan ba ito sa tama? Do we have concrete examples? Why or why not, Lyra?
I believe that the 10% of the RAA that is the budget of the Sangguniang Kabataan is not being implemented thoroughly through these initiatives or these projects. For example, that this kind of initiatives are not long-lasting. It is not a long-term solution for this kind of initiatives for the youth because, as we say, the youth is our future. So if we would put that kind of one-day events like sports event, like the events that are focuses on gaming, they're actually not long-term events, but rather they're only events that are being implemented by the Sangguniang Kabataan just to put off their events because it is
Kumbaga,
said na
maitawid lang.
Maitawid
Ganon.
lang, yes.
Okay, sige, Max, what do you have to say to that?
Let's not generalize and solely focus on the Sangguniang Kabataan. Let's focus on the general aspect. Tingnan natin yung Senate, the national government. These are not only the specific types of government we need to focus. Tignan natin, may LIDO, may LYC, may COA. They audit, they check and balances even from the bottom, let's say, ayun, mga barangay natin, mga local governments. We have this agencies, structures na nag-check and balances and also audit our government officials and offices. Kasi pag may mali sa government system natin, kasalanan din pa natin yun. Let's just generally and put the blame on the Sangguniang Kabataan or the barangay level.
So you're saying about guardrails. Ikaw, Lera, what do you have to say about what she said na meron naman palang check and balance nangyayari? Is that effective?
With regards to the check and balances, of course, that we accept or we acknowledge the idea that there are check and balances in all of the other institutions in the government. We agree to that. We concede to that fact. But however, we need to acknowledge that the successes that these Sangguniang Kabataan phrases or sinasabi nila na sa kanilang project, this is successful because of this kind of individuals, these are isolated cases, and these isolated cases are just the outliers. It is not the norms, because if we define success or quote-unquote success in this kind of initiatives in this kind of individuals, then the success is not definitely consistent because I'd say the system is failing.
Okay. Max.
So as you said earlier, there are current denominators and there are current cases that these types of Sangguniang Kabataans, let's say, may problema nga sila. But let's look at the common denominator. Hindi naman lahat suli ng focus na yung failure sa Sangguniang Kabataan. As I mentioned earlier, the national government, other agencies as well, provincial, regional, and all of the aspects of governments in the Philippines. Dahil hindi lamang suli na focus yung failure ng government sa SK. Bakit nga ba nag-fail yung government? Kasi nag-fail yung provincial, nag-fail yung regional, nag-fail yung national. So, the blame focus here is not the SK but on the systematic failure of our own government.
Bukod sa possible existence of corruption or misappropriation of the funds na ginagawa nga or hindi epektibong paglalaan ng pondo sa Sangguniang Kabataan, dagdagan natin na sino nga ba ang mga gumagamit ng pondong ito? Gaano ba kakwalipikado ang mga SKs na ito na humawak ng ganitong pera at magpalakad ng mga proyekto? So bilang mga kabataan, sa tingin nyo ba ang pag-amyenda sa kwalifikasyon sa mga gustong tumakbo sa Sangguniang Kabataan ay napapahanahon, or kung meron ba kayong maiisip na what's that concrete guardrail or filter that we should input that would make it more effective? Lera?
I think the reforms in Sangguniang Kabataan has been rolling on for decades already, and I think it's time to abolish it since it has proven ineffective. During the 2015 reform of the Sangguniang Kabataan, it had said it addresses that this reform should cater the corruption that are revolving around the Sangguniang Kabataan. Therefore, in this decades of implementing Sangguniang Kabataan, it means that the system is consistently failing. Right? So, in this thought, abolishing SK, we want to clarify that we are not abolishing youth participation. We agree to that. We are pushing youth participation because it is still the vital role of the youth here in our country. And in our side, or in our opposition, in our side rather, we are pushing that there are other alternatives other than SK. So we are pushing for that, and we want to abolish SK because of it.
Max?
But we want to focus on reform, not abolishment. But if we focus on abolishment, we're also removing non-government organizations and youth organizations into non-government and government structures when it comes to implementation, when it comes to government facilitation, yung legislation as well. But let's remember, decentralized system yung country natin. If we remove that type of decentralization, magiging centralized yung government structure natin. It means wala na sa legislation yung mga youth, wala na sa policy making yung mga youth. And we're focusing on the centralized aspect. So mapofocus yung mga upper level of offices.
With your narrative that you are pushing for youth participation, it is existent in our side because we are pushing for other alternatives rather than the SK. We are pushing for non-governmental organizations which is not connected with the SK. Remember, youth participation is not concerningly mandated in the Constitution by just the Sangguniang Kabataan. It can also be mandated through other initiatives like
Let me put you there.
okay.
It's constitutionally mandated that there should be youth participation in our country. Nasa constitution natin
Yes, we
yan.
agree to that there is youth participation. But it does not mandate that it is solely focuses on SK na sila magmamandate lang ng youth participation. We have to accept the fact that there are other aspects or avenues. It can be present in local administrative bodies. It can be present in non-governmental organization, and even it can be present at school. So we're not eliminating youth participation here. We're going to other avenues rather than the Sangguniang Kabataan. That's why we want to abolish it.
But let me ask you this. If we remove the SK, nalilimit na and nawawala na yung other opportunities and other structures na pwede ng ating mga kabataan. Yes, there are student leaderships, there are universities, there are youth organizations, but lalo, mas binabawasan natin yung mga avenues na pwede sa ating mga kabataan. Kabataan din naman tayo. Because these SKs are also avenues, are also opportunities for our kabataan na mag-push din ng other forms of legislation, other forms of government provisions to our other people and especially sa ating mga kabataan.
Which again, I would like to reiterate that it could be to another reform or avenue of youth development representative through the barangay, which is not considered as an SK.
Okay, thank you so much, Max and Lera. Hand it over to Francine and JC. On the qualifications of SK, how can we be more stringent? How can we effectively say that the person who is running for a specific position in SK is qualified and effective as a possible candidate or a leader? JC.
So that is the problem in today's time. Because as we see, sa SK, ang requirements na nila is able to read and write and at least 18 years of age up until to 24. And that is very problematic. That's why we push for abolition. Because how can we really trust that these people that we are entrusting 10% of the budget that has been given to them, na wala silang sapat na qualifications to manage those funds, and even in before's time nung hindi pa nare-reform ang SK, in civil law they are not legally accepted to enter into contracts and even to legally be accountable to what they are doing. So that is the problem here.
So you feel very strongly that they're not qualified given the
Yes.
current metrics. Francine.
What do we mean when we come to a conclusion when it comes to qualifications? Hindi lang naman nababase sa edukasyon ang kakayahan ng isang kabataan. Hindi lang naman nababase sa kanyang estado sa buhay ang kakayahan ng isang kabataan. For me, I do believe that in order for us to safeguard and to guarantee the qualifications, kailangan talaga magmula sa tao at isang hudyat niyan ay binoto sila at nilalal sila ng mga mamamayan. Isang punto yon na mahalaga na dapat hindi natin makalimutan.
So we agree to the idea na talaga namang mamamayan ang mahalaga dito, especially yung mga kabataan na bumoboto. But then again, sino nga ba ang mga binoboto nila? Anak ni kapitan, apo ni kapitan, tiyuhin ni kapitan. 'Di ba? That is the problem here. We are fostering political dynasties from the bottom itself. Lahat naman tayo nag-agree here na bottom to up approach. But again, how can we tackle the evil from the top if we can't even begin to repair and clean up those at the bottom, the problem at the bottom? Kaya nga we propose na dapat na talaga siya i-abolish. Because one, hindi naman na din nasi-safeguard kung talaga bang just because you are running for this is talaga bang sapat yung kakayahan mo para mamuno dun sa posisyon na yon.
Salamat, JC. Back to you.
Tandaan natin na ang SK Reform Act lang ang merong anti-political dynasty. Unang-una yon sa aking punto. Ikalawa, hindi naman talaga problema ang sangguniang kabataan. Ang problema ay ang cyclical na operasyon ng sistema mismo na ingrained sa ating bansa. Pangalawang punto yon. At ang aking ikatlong punto ay kung tatanggalin natin ang sangguniang kabataan, tinatanggalan lang natin ng karapat-dapat na espasyo ang mga kabataan sa mismong sistema para sa ating Pilipinas. Kung hindi ang mga kabataan, sino at paano?
Okay, back tayo ulit ha. I need a concrete, specific example of additional filters that we should be having. Or if not, and if you suggest that it's fine, it's okay, the current metrics are, because it gives liberty, please do defend your answer. JC.
Okay, so this is why we believe na dapat na talaga siya i-abolish. Although tama naman siya doon sa idea niya na parang mahalaga ang kabataan in terms of like for example, in governance. Kasi tayo yung pinaka-unang step sa pagkakaroon ng magandang gobyerno. But then again, we should take into account, for example, COA. Lagi nireklamo ng COA yung unliquidated na mga funds na nakukuha nila from SK. Ano ba nangyayari talaga dito, guys? So yung ba yung masasabi natin talaga na tamang namumuno and at the same time, credible na mamuno para sa ganong klase na posisyon? That's why we believe that even if meron tayong reforms na binigay, political dynasty, yes, tama yun. Sila lang ang merong for political dynasty. But then again, meron itong loopholes. Imagine, As long as hindi kayo magkamag-anak in terms of magtatay or maglolo, hindi kayo pwede tumakbo. Pero paano yung magtsuhin? Paano yung magpinsan? Pwede kayong tumakbo. So may loopholes pa rin and hindi na si-safeguard nun yung political dynasties.
Right.
Ang tanong dito is para kung paano natin talaga masi-safeguard when it comes to qualifications, when it comes to SK. So for us, hindi talaga dapat completely abolish ang Sangguniang Kabataan, kundi dapat lamang na magkaroon pa ng further enhancing and further, of course, awareness, and another is training. Nabanggit niya po yung sa COA, ang mga unliquidated na mga funds, pati unliquidated budget ay hindi lamang po nakasaklaw sa kakulangan ng mga SK, kundi mismo sa programa when it comes to the mother barangay at after ng mother barangay, it comes to the municipal. Hindi lang talaga siya bottom-up approach dahil sa 10% na IRA, ang mas malaki nakaka-apekto at nakakaharang doon ay yung mas malalawak na antas pa ng pamunuan, which is the mother barangay nga.
Bilang mga kabataan at nasa ilalim ng pamumuno ng isang SK officials ang inyong lugar, sa tingin nyo ba, okay, dagdagan natin, bukod sa kwalifikasyon, tingin nyo ba na yung mga current na panuntunan o programa na inilalagak ng mga SKs natin upang maalalayan at matulungan ang ating mga kabataan ay talagang sapat or talaga bang nare-representa nito ang mga pangangailangan nila?
So, gaya nga na nasabi natin kanina, yes, we agree na parang meron tayong proseso na dapat sundan. But then again, bakit yung cases na nire-raise ni COA, even DILG secretaries, is nanggagaling lang sa SK? So, we cannot neglect the fact na meron tayong problema na dapat ayusin doon. And doon naman, based naman sa sinabi mo na, yes, kailangan i-reform instead of abolish, we do not believe in that. Binigyan na namin kayo ng 4 na dekada para ayusin yan. Meron tayong reform, RA 1074-2. But then again, ano nangyari? Wala pa rin naman nagbabago. Ayun pa rin ang reklamo ng sambayanan and at the same time ng society.
Kabataan, talagang tinatanggalan natin ng representasyon ng mga youth natin.
That is where we disagree.
Hindi tayo
Because again,
nakakasigurado na kung tatanggalin natin ng SK, mababago ba nito ang korupsyon? Mababago ba nito yung mga lapses when it comes to political society?
But then
Hindi.
again, we believe...
Pero when it comes to the
Okay,
COA,
sige,
pati
go.
sa mga liquidation, and of course, within the recent issues when it comes to Sangguniang Kabataan, hindi lamang ang SK at ang SK Fed ang mananagot doon.
Kayo na
Dahil
nagsabi
nagmula
kanina,
pa
sabi nyo
mismo sa
bottom-up
mga
approach.
mas
If we do
mataas.
not tackle
When it comes to
the
bottom-up
people from the
approach,
bottom
hindi
that
lang-
is the problem, how can we tackle those people at the top? Diba? Kaya nga dapat dun pa lang sa baba, maayos na natin,
Ang maganda sa
madisiplina na
Sangguniang
natin.
Kabataan,
And the
kailangan
problem
idagdag
is...
sa kwalifikasyon.
Okay, sige, go.
For me, dapat idagdag sa kwalifikasyon na CSC license siya. If
Okay.
ever, malaking foundation yun when it comes to
CSC
Sangguniang Kabataan.
wouldn't secure that. We could also say it to you.
would be
CSC
a
wouldn't
safeguard,
secure.
would be a guarantee,
No. Because
would be,
at the end of the day,
course,
if you
would
are already
safeguard-
corrupt, then you will be
Corruption
continuing the
is a very
practice.
vast practice.
Yes, I
Corruption,
believe that. But then
yes.
again,
So,
if you are
when
SK, nasa
continue,
formative
when it comes to
stage,
top
you
Maraming
need to...
salamat, JC. I firmly believe, guys, that you know what you're saying na mayroong kakulangan or kung tama bang may kakulangan, meron pang mas mai-improve, di ba? So, that's what we want to hear from you. Sige, palit muna tayo ulit. Balik tayo sa ating mga team leaders. Sabi ko, ang tinatanong ko, bukod sa kwalifikasyon, yung current ba na panuntunan o programa ay sapat na para tunay na magrepresenta sa pangangailangan ng kabataan? Can you give me proper examples of why or why not these are effective and if there are any that are effective? Nico?
I want to answer a different case muna. First and foremost, what he is saying is there are actually no sufficient safeguards, especially at our age, to make sure that we are qualified.
Okay.
That's why, since hindi magkakaroon ng tamang safeguard, let's just wag na natin ipilit. Like,
Parang relationship lang,
oo.
huwag natin pilit.
Pwede tayong umasa sa representation sa mas mataas na level. Tulad nga sinasabi niya, we have party list. Pwede tayong umasa sa kabataan party list na i-represent yung mga kabataan. Kasi kung hindi naman nag-aaral yung mga kabataan representatives natin, so paano nila mapapanagutan yung pag-aaral at pagsisilbi ng sabay?
Okay.
Tandaan natin na kailangan natin ng decentralization kasi kung iasa na natin sa party list, yung mga polisiya ang isinasa batas para sa kabataan, hindi kagad dito mararamdaman on the ground. Tandaan natin ng SK, ang local implementer ng ating Filipino Development Plan. Pangalawa, ang ating national officials at local officials na tumatakbo ay mababaw rin yung kwalifikasyon. Bakit natin bibigyan ng mahigpit na kwalifikasyon ang siyang representante ng kabataan kung mismo yung mga nakaupo senador at mga nakaupo sa ating mga local officials ay hindi naman ganun kataas yung pamantayan. Tandaan natin na meron pa rin mga nakaupo sa local at national na hindi naman talaga kwalipikado.
Exactly. Kung sa kabataan pa lang hindi kwalipikado, paano pa natin masasabing kwalipikado sila? It has to start somewhere and I believe it has to start with the youth. So kung hindi natin sila makakwalify and if alis natin sila, okay, at least we remove the harms. As of right now, we have established that Sangguniang Kabataan have harms. It gives harm in the society. But, sinasabi mo na may use ang sangguniang kabataan, ginagawa ito, ganito. Pero hindi natin ramdam. Hindi ko ramdam, hindi mo ramdam. Hindi mo masasabi na effective kayo objectively because pag may sinabi kayong nagawa ang sangguniang kabataan, they are isolated cases and mas naririnig pa natin yung mga misappropriated funds, mga funds na hindi nagagamit ng tama, yun yung norm. Hindi norm na magagaling. They are the exceptions. So mas okay na wala yung harms kaysa sa iilan na exceptions.
Tandaan din natin, pag binigyan pa natin ng mas malalim na kwalifikasyon ng mga SK, mas lalo natin lilimitahan yung posisyon at espasyo para sa kanilang pagpapartisipa sa isang civic spaces. Pangalawa, pagdating naman doon sa harms, if we really want to remove the harm, we should also remove the Senate and also the Congress. Kasi nandoon yung malaking harm, di ba? Kung hindi natin magawang i-abolish ang Senate, ba't gusto natin i-abolish ang SK? Tandaan natin na eto, napakarami nga ng check and balance mechanism ng SK. Nandiyan ang Katipunan ng Kabataan, nandiyan ang Local Youth Development Council, nandiyan ang Local Youth Development Office, nandiyan ang COA, DBM.
Kung ganun pa nakalami, yung check and balances, bakit nangyari yun sa Thailand? Ilang milyon-milyon yung nagastos inappropriately for a Thailand trip na hindi maganda. Sabi ng Department of Interior and Local Government, iimbestigahan nila yun. Asan yung investigasyon? Check and balances ba yun? Was it check? What is balanced? I don't think so.
Ang tanong, sino po ang nagpayag? Sino po ang nag-aproba ng kanilang trip to Thailand? Tandaan natin, yung nag-aproba lagi ay ang budget officers. So, sino nga ba nakaupo sa
Sino
budget
yung nag-propose?
officers? So,
Kabataan.
Technically, it was proposed by the Kabataan, pero may kapangyarihan dapat ang siyang local government unit na harangan ito. Pero bagkus, pumasok pa rin, pinayagan pa rin. It means,
Kung sa
nandun
simula pa
sistematiko.
lang, hindi na maganda. Sa kabataan pa lang mismo, yung kabataan mismo yung nag-isip ng hindi maganda, masasabi pa ba natin na mas malaki yung kasalanan ng mga check? Of course, may kasalanan sila. Pero kung yung hindi pa rin talaga kwalipikado, yung nagbigay ng source ng corruption, ma-justify mo ba yun? Kasi yun nga lang, pumutok yung case na yun. Paano yung mga hindi pumuputok na case?
Pero
Paano yung hindi mga sikat?
natin kasi yung argumento, no? Yung pinakagusto kasing mapasok dito na yan ay magkaroon ng exchange of learning. Pero kasi, tandaan natin, hindi lang mag-isa ang gumagalaw sa gobyerno. Marami pang gumagalaw sa gobyerno. Kabataan yan, kailangan pa rin yan ng gabay. At hindi na lang kabataan ang kailangan ng gabay, kundi
Kaya nga,
lahat na sa
ngayon nga
government
lang sa
office.
panahon natin, hindi natin walang gumagabay. So wala nang gumagabay, hinahayaan pa
So,
sila
ibig
gumawa ng
sabihin,
mali.
kung walang
So tanggalin
gumagabay-
na lang natin yung mga maling nangyayari.
So, kung
Para
walang
at least on
gumagabay-
our side, there are no harms.
So,
On
kung-
your side, there are harms.
So kung walang gumagabay, ibig sabihin kamalian ng local government unit, kamalian ng mga ahensya, no? Tandaan natin na ang paggupo sa gobyerno is still a long-term learning, no? Pagkatuto pa rin yan. So ibig sabihin nun, everyone at the stakeholder should be appropriated
But
and
is
should be
it not
accountable.
better to lessen the harms while we are learning how to be more accountable?
But actually, lessening the participation of the youth, also creating a risk when it comes to our democratic
lessen
practices.
it immediately because we have non-government organizations, we have parties.
Pero
It does
tandaan
not rely on sangguniang kabataan.
Pero tandaan
Sangguniang
natin-
kabataan as its form right now is not even that effective.
Pero tandaan natin, no, paulit-ulit tayo sa babalik natin, Sangguniang Kabataan is the official body for the youth representation.
Official or not,
hindi
it is
lahat
not
ng local
effective. You
government.
cannot deny
Okay,
it.
maraming salamat, Ken and Nico. Muna. Kulang nga ba ang mga makinarya na nakapaloob sa SK kung kaya't nagiging ugat ito na mapabayaan ang mga kabataan na nasa laylayan? Makinarya ang usapan natin dito. Nico.
Okay. Yes, it is very lacking.
Okay.
So, sabihin na natin, dun pa lang sa check and balances, walang maayos sa check and balances when it comes to how SK uses their funds. So, sabihin man natin, oo, i-check nga lang nasa taas. Pero hindi nga nila na-check eh. So, gumagawa lang tayo ng panibagong butas para mag-foster ng corruption. Yun yung sinasabi namin. SK fosters corruptions at such a low level that it cannot even be thoroughly monitored by and audit by the COA because napakaraming barangay, napakaraming. So, mas pinapahirapan lang natin yung sarili natin na i-check yung corruption na nangyayari.
Okay.
Just an eye-opener, when it comes to mechanisms of the Sangguniang Kabataan, we have the ABIP, we have the CBDYP, we also have the discretion when it comes to the ALG, the COA, and of course our SK Federation. But with all that, it is also evident that there are lapses when it comes to SK, but that that should serve as a dim silver lining. Hindi dapat tayo mapanghinaan sa mga pagkulang. Nandiyan na ang mga kakulangan. Bakit hindi natin reformahan? But this time, this reform should be genuine because the youth needed and the youth is entitled to serve with integrity and of course with proper system.
So, nagsabi ka ng 5, at least 5 yun. Pero lahat ba sila napigilan yung mga corruption na nangyari, na sinabi ko kanina nangyari? Hindi, di ba? So, we can objectively say that such mechanisms are ineffective. So masasabi natin kung ineffective sila, wala na silang bilang. Hindi na natin sila maaasahan. So kung hindi natin sila maaasahan, bakit pa rin natin itutuloy? Bakit pa rin natin sasaksakin yung sarili natin sa mga corruption na nangyayari? Lumulusot yung pera lang sa mga kamay ng taxpayers, papunta sa bulsa ng kung kani-kanino na hindi natin alam. So bakit pa natin ito ipagpapatuloy? O nga, maganda yung essence, maganda yung thought, pero doon tayo sa application. Nangyayari ba yung application? Hindi. 40 decades, that's enough. We should stop it now.
Sinusupalpal natin lagi ang sangguniang kabataan when it comes to corruption, pero hindi natin alam na sila mismo ang tanging mekanismo lumalaban doon. I can say that because first and foremost, nakalatag na ang sistema bago pa magkaroon ng sangguniang kabataan. Nandiyan na ang corruption, nandiyan na ang ingrained dynastical political systems, nandiyan na siya bago pa ang sangguniang kabataan. Ang tanging problema lang, ang sangguniang kabataan ngayon ang napupuna dahil ito ang pinakabago. Bago pa lang 40 decades, within that 40 decades, ang mga reforma ay hindi talaga genuine dahil ang mga alam natin sa Senado, they're also ingrained with their own interest.
Okay, sabi mo nga, yung sangguniang kabataan, gusto nilang lumaban. Pero sila yung ginagamit ng mga nasa taas. Kasi, paano kung si Chuhin ko, paano kung si tatay ko sinabi na ito yung gagawin ko? Hindi nila yun ma-avoid, hindi nila masusuway. Kasi nga, alam naman natin na yung mga members ng sangguniang kabataan, they're members of the political dynasty. So even in theory, if you want to use sangguniang kabataan to combat corruption, in reality right now, it has not done that and it has done otherwise. It is being used by the elite, it is being used by the powerful political dynasties as an additional tool to further their goals. So why not remove that tool and lessen the harms that is happening in our country? That is better.
Laging harm ang pinag-uusapan natin, pero sa'yo na rin nanggaling na ang tanging problema at mismong root cause nito ay nanggagaling mismo sa taas at hindi dahil sa SK. Nagiging mekanarya o nagiging tool na sinasabi mo, I disagree with that. Dahil unang-una, alam natin ang mga youth at lalong-lalo na ang sangguniang kabataan, when it comes to participation, sila ang nagpanalo sa mga kampiyon natin when it comes to Bam Aquino, Kiko Pangilinan, talaga nagbabago ang political landscape at pag-iisip ng ating mga kabataan. Kaya it is unfair and unjust to say na talagang nagiging puppet ng ating mga kabataan ngayon dahil hindi. At hindi yun.
Okay, meron muna akong question bago tayo mag-free flow discussion. Do you think that CSE eligibility should be given as a privilege para mas maging harder working, mas maging effective yung current na mga leaders or candidates na inilalagay natin doon, Nico?
I think it's not really concrete because you can get CSE if you're a cum laude, if you're
Okay.
magna cum laude, as long as you have that, that's a loophole. Not everyone gets that distinction because they are really academically smart, or there are people who can get that distinction but they are not morally good. So that's not enough as a safety mechanism, especially if the youth themselves are easily can be easily manipulated. Sabihin natin, ako, ikaw, at maraming kabataan ng bukas ang mata, pero
Okay, I
hindi
would like
lahat.
to cut naman po doon. I do agree na CSE privilege should be given sa mga sangguniang kabataan, chairman, sangguniang officials, but with restrictions. And of course, proper metrics to observe kung talaga bang karapat dapat sila. So, hindi lang dapat nasa posisyon, dapat mabigyan kaagad ng CSC. Pero there is a certain...
Okay, wait lang. You said proper metrics. What are that metrics? We
Those
cannot
metrics
say
we
what are
can-
those metrics. We are unsure. Walang sure na
When it
sure.
comes to those metrics, we can always monitor and we can always base it to a result-based management when it comes to the
Kung sa Senate
projects
pa nga
ng
lang, sa House of
mismong mga
Representatives,
sangguniang
hindi siya
kabataan.
gumagana.
So, kung
Gagana
makita
pa ba
natin
yan sa
talaga
mas
kung
maraming
ano yung mga
kabataan?
plataforma, kung ano yung
Gano'ng
mga
karami yung mga
naging
barangay sa
serbisyo?
Pilipinas? Tingin mo ba mamamonitor yan? May body na magmamonitor dyan?
Hindi
Wala,
kasi,
hindi kaya.
hindi sagot ang incompetence when it comes to the higher authority kapag pagdating natin sa
Exactly.
sangguniang
Kung
kabataan.
marami sa
Kung
higher
kaya
authority ang
ang privilege
incompetent,
ng
paano
when
mo
it comes to
masasabi na
CSE,
yung mga
karapat-dapat
kabataan
lang
ay
sa
hindi
mga
incompetent?
officials,
Mas maraming
pero then,
uneducated.
And of course, lahat sila, when it comes to uneducated,
Okay, maraming salamat. Parang hindi pa kayo tapos. No? Sige, Max. Lera, pasok. Punta tayo sa faith and belief in all of the opportunities, the potential of it all, no? So, naniniwala ba kayo na sa SK nag-uumpisa ang lahat ng korupsyon sa ating bansa at ito ay isang malaking training ground nga ba para sa mga kabataan natin na maging trapo?
With what have my current teammates have
Okay,
said
kaya mo yan.
have said earlier, they have addressed that corruption starts from the bottom because they have said it is a bottom up approach. So because of this kind of corruption that starts in the Sangguniang Kabataan, they are being puppeted because of political patronage, which is pinapapit sila ng mga nasa taas because of these political dynasties. So in this case, if we want to remove entirely of corruption in this kind of system, we should start at the bottom. We should start at Sangguniang
So
Kabataan.
call it out. Yun yung
Yes.
parang point mo. Max.
I think that's a discerning factor kasi hindi bottom-up approach yung sa Philippines. Let's not preach about bottom-up. Let's look at the reality aspect. Top-down approach yung bansa natin.
Okay.
Nagsisimula sa taas, national. Ano ba yung pag-deliver ng mechanisms, ng funds? Simula sa taas, national, regional, provincial. Binibigay yung funds mula sa taas. Kasi existing na yung problem before, as mentioned earlier by my teammates, existing na yung problem before SK was even created. Napapractice na yung corruption type of practices. Napapractice na lahat ng mga kamalian sa gobyerno. It is existent before even the SK. It's historically accurate na meron ng corruption culturally.
Okay, so not decentralizing, but more of decoupling corruption as not because of SK, but rather it's already existing, just also in another governing body like SK. Lela, anong masasabi mo when it comes to pagiging trapo? Like, do we train? Is it actually happening na tinetrain natin ang mga kabataan maging trapo, lalo na kapag pumapasok sa SK?
Well, actually, the term of what I'm gonna address first what she have said earlier. What she have said earlier. So she have said earlier that corruption has been lying down for decades already. Meaning it is historically rooting that there is a systematic failure. We agree to that. We concede to that. We concede to that idea. So it means that during those decades of having this corruption, nagsistart talaga siya sa Sangguniang Kabataan because kung talagang from the start there is corruption, then why brought up a new kind of organization that is also breeding the same kind of environment or system that has been lying down for decades already? Meaning we should abolish it.
Let's look at the aspect. You said historically accurate. Sino ba yung introduce ng politika sa akin? Mga Amerikano, mga Espanyol. Sila yung nag-introduce. Dahil sa ganyang aspeto, walang bottom-up approach. Dati, top-down approach talaga yung introduce sa ating ng ating mga colonizers. And dahil dito, pinapasa nila yung trapo kind of politics, yung trapo kind of politicians, public servants sa ating mga sangguniang kabataan. But that's not the sole problem of the SKs. It's the sole problem of our government, historically embedded, geographically embedded na siya sa ating bansa at sa ating kultura because of those colonizers.
Okay, sige. Baka doon na tayo sa final question natin. So, wala na tayong free flow after this. We just need you to specifically answer this question. So, ang pag-abolish ba ng Sangguniang Kabataan dapat o hindi dapat, given all the arguments you've raised? Lera?
For us, of course, from the start that we have come up from this debate, we dapat talagang i-abolish ang SK because abolishment of SK is not eliminating youth participation. We have already talked about that earlier. It is not anti-democracy because we are proposing new avenues of youth participation that are existing already in other organizations like NGOs, local administrative bodies, like what you have said earlier. We are proposing this kind of initiatives because we have already put the effort on reforms on SK, which is therefore it is said that it is systematically failing. So if we would push that another reform for SK, then are we not wasting our resources on this kind of reforms?
Hindi dapat i-abolish ang SK because if you abolish SK, you're already centralizing the government structure, the government policy making when it comes to the national government. Kasi pag mawala yung SK, mawawala yung boses ng kabataan. We're already limiting their voices. We're already limiting their avenues. Let's look at the Philippine aspect. Let's look at geographical, historical, and cultural aspect. Dahil nga dati may mga datos, may mga sultan. Sila yung nag-implement ng mga policies sa ating mga kababayan mula sa baba, pumunta sa taas. And dahil dito, we should not only stop preaching na kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. We should be part of that change. We should be part of them.
First of all, maraming salamat sa ating mga debaters. No? Schoolmates, sa aming pagbabalik, ating malalaman sino nga ba ang best speaker ngayong araw at syempre yung say na rin ng ating mga schoolmates sa ating social media. So lahat ng yan ay sa pagbabalik lamang ng Schoolmates!